should have just left it the way it was with the red one.
You look like a lion and a hyena made it and produced you.
We wanted to take a minute to thank our friends at thebikerlawyers.com. If you're ever in an accident in Iowa or Minnesota, make sure to call and ride the recovery road with the Biker Lawyers. Hi, y'all. Welcome. For those of you that are new to our channel, I'm Meg, and this is my motorcycle journey. Cameraman comes along. This vlog follows us on all of our two-wheeled motorcycle adventures. If you haven't already, go down and hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to Michael and I. If you guys have not been following along with our channel, you won't know. But if you're a regular viewer, you will know that after Thanksgiving, Michael and I went down to Costa Rica for a week. You probably saw some of that dirt bike footage. But what you guys didn't know yet is that after the dirt bike portion of the tour, we were able to rent these Yamaha Tenere 700s for 5 days and tour the rest of, well, not all of Costa Rica, obviously, but a good portion of Costa Rica. And it was one of the most amazing adventures we've ever been on. But I really wanted to take this video and focus on giving you guys some feedback on what I thought of this bike. As many of you know, I've test ridden a lot of bikes on this channel. Almost every single Harley model there is. I've test ridden 2 sport bikes before. I have test ridden the Pan America, which is a Harley model, but is for adventure bike riding or enduro touring. So, this has some characteristics that are similar to that, but all of those bikes I only rode for a short amount of time, at most 1 day. Some of the sport bikes I rented from for a day or so, but this was a totally different experience because I rode this bike for almost 5 days. Michael rode the same model as me with just a slightly 2-inch higher seat height. Stay tuned to hear all about the bike. Something here. Ain't good.
Meg's trying to use all the bungees.
Over. It's car. Okay, that's not good. I don't want it to fall off. I should have just left it the way it was with the red one.
You look like a lion and a hyena made it and produced you. Hot. It's hot. What? What are you doing here?
Just trying to make this work.
Babe, that thing ain't going nowhere. You got 14 bungee cords on this mother.
Only 2 now. Here, look. If I do this.
What?
Is there the same hook on the other side? Because I feel like that is a good solution.
We're just going to a volcano.
It doesn't feel like it's tight the way I want it to feel tight.
Maine.
This is Jungle Meg. Watch out.
All right, what else you got up in here?
Jungle Meg will get you. It's not tight enough. I don't like
Megan, where's it gonna go? Your back is gonna be against it.
If I can even sit on this.
Sit on it. You might just have to let a man do it. What are you? You're nuts. We're gonna get stopped by the policia for dangerous activities.
No, we're not. There we go. All right, now I feel better. It's not going anywhere now.
It wasn't going nowhere before. You're acting like you're gonna get thrown in a typhoon.
The volcano might erupt while we're riding.
Well, if it erupts, that bag, right?
Your clothes.
So one time that, gotta be fast.
God, it's hot as up in here.
Let's hit the road. Okay. Volcano, here we come. Lion mane and all.
So I'm not going to lie. It was probably the most difficult bike for me to ride that I've ever ridden. Not because the bike itself was hard to ride. The bike itself was actually very easy to ride. But because the seat height was so high that I could not touch on either side. I could only basically do what's called the tripod method, which some of you shorter riders may know. So I had to basically put all of my weight on my left foot when I came to a stop and balance the bike on one foot and then throttle and pull myself up onto the bike when I started, which is a challenge. So we stopped for breakfast at this place. It's really cool. Like, very picturesque. You had to ring the doorbell to come in, but it was cool. Worth it.
Get past the little sketch part.
Very pretty. So, pretty neat. So, I'm going to get back to my review and thoughts on this bike in a moment, but I do want to say that Michael and I were blown away by the country of Costa Rica. We loved the food, we loved the people, we loved the culture, especially the fact that so many folks ride and so many people understand motorcycles and respect motorcycles. But I will also tell you this. The traffic laws are vastly different than they are in the United States. So we learned quickly from our guides that things like passing on the shoulder or lane splitting or passing in different situations that would not be legal in the United States are legal in Costa Rica. So before we have a bunch of y'all attacking us. So back to my review and thoughts on this bike. I had really wanted Michael and I to have an opportunity to ride an enduro bike because we would like to get a third bike that the two of us can share, and we hadn't quite decided on what that bike would be when we pay off our bikes, which is not too far in the future. We would like to invest in a third bike. What we learned is that it is possible for me to ride an adventure bike that's a little bit higher off the ground, although it is a challenge. I have briefly ridden our buddy Dennis's Yamaha Tenere. His is a 1200 around the parking lot and his neighborhood. His bike is lowered, which made a huge difference and was certainly easier to ride than this bike was. Now, as those of you who have ridden a lot of bikes know, once you get going, it doesn't really matter how high the seat height is. So once I was moving on this bike, it was actually really nice. It turned very easily, smooth like butter. It turned on a dime. The weight distribution did not feel like it was a heavy bike at all. It felt like a very light, nimble turning bike. It was quick. It certainly did not have the power of our Harleys. And so I would say that if you are somebody who is a big tourer and you only want to do on-road touring, then you might want to stick with more of a cruiser Harley type touring model, because it was not as easy to get this bike into top speed. My Harley, Michael's Harley, most of the folks I know that ride cruisers can easily get that bike, going 90 miles an hour for a good long period of time. These bikes, that was a little bit more of an effort. However, this bike handled so well in the rain. So my bike, it's something that I really don't love in the United States. I obviously ride in the rain. You've seen Michael and I ride through hurricanes, snow, all the things. But something that I don't love is how unstable I feel sometimes on my bike in challenging weather situations. This bike could not have been further from that. Now, I will say this had on-road, off-road, knobby tires, and obviously my Harley has street tires. But in Costa Rica, we were there at the tail end of the rainy season. And so during the rainy season, it rains almost every day, but not all day. And we did get one very sunny day with no rain, but most of the days it rains, and that was our experience, that there was rain every single day. So this bike was a dream in rain. The other thing is, and you can't see it from this video, but you will see it in some of our upcoming videos, is that the road conditions in some parts of Costa Rica were very challenging, to say the least. There were potholes, there were unpaved portions, there were gravel, there were places where the road had eroded away on sharp curves in the mountains, uphill, downhill. And this bike handled all of that terrain like a champ, like an absolute champ. So I will say that if you're going to be doing that type of riding like we were doing in Costa Rica, where the road conditions are challenging, this bike was a dream. And it's hard for me to say, given my experience, whether this bike would be better than any other adventure touring bike versus a cruiser touring bike. I did love having a lot of storage, although I will say this. People have been telling us that, it's crazy that we tour on our Softails and we need bags. When we tour on our Softails, I bring one giant bag and I take it off my bike and I put it back on my bike every day, which is annoying at times. But with this, I had to break up all of our luggage into smaller bags, and especially because it rained, I put things in plastic bags and waterproof bags and all of that. So I think that there are advantages of both, because then every time we stopped, we had to take everything on and off the bike. So I think what you're about to see is crazy, because we saw so many dogs everywhere in Costa Rica, and you'll see a little clip of that. But most of the dogs knew to avoid traffic, but in 1 minute, you're going to see, and I was really sad, but thankfully the dog was okay, that we saw a dog got hit.
Oh, that dog just got hit by a car. Somebody needs to tell John Good that dog was not an assassin. Look at that. Yeah, absolutely.
Buddy,
Hi puppy.
don't touch him.
There's dogs everywhere here. That was us eating lunch at a soda, which we learned are local small restaurants that they have in every town in Costa Rica, and we actually found them and the food there to be amazing and very affordable. But the language barrier was a bit of a challenge, because Michael speaks a little bit more Spanish than I do, but both of us have very, very minimal Spanish. So a lot of times we weren't exactly sure what we were ordering. At times we had internet service, and so we would use Google Translate, but sometimes we didn't. So we were pointing at things and seeing how it went. But fortunately, we really enjoyed the food, and it was great. And we had a lot of fun trying all the different sodas and trying all types of Costa Rican food. So that was really sad about the dog, but he did look like he was okay. He got up and ran away. But when you heard Mike say someone needs to tell Janka he's not an assassin, what he was referring to is our tour guide, Janka, who was fantastic, who you saw in some of the other videos. We had seen a couple of dogs in the city the day before almost get hit or running through traffic. And I commented, "Oh my gosh, those dogs better watch out." And he said, "That dog's an assassin. That dog knows the rules of the road." So anyway, Michael and I were shocked, but glad that the dog ran away. Back to the review of the Yamaha Tenere 700. So, this is a weird little thing to notice, but we both really liked the grips on the bike. They were sort of like squishy material that you wouldn't think would be like nice and high quality, but we both loved them. I will say this, it is the most versatile bike I've ever ridden, and again, not sure if that's just adventure bikes or this bike in particular, because my test ride of the Harley-Davidson Pan America was short and only on paved roads. So this video is all paved roads, but you will see that in Costa Rica there was a lot of roads that were unpaved and that we rode on, and you will see that we encountered everything from mud, dirt, potholes. Michael did some river crossings that we have on camera that we will show you in a future video. But this bike could handle it all. We also did a day of mostly highway, which is quite different than in the United States. The pace of traffic is considerably slower. So for some reason, Michael's bike was set in kilometers and mine was set in miles per hour. So we were able to compare. But our day of highway riding, and anytime we rode on a highway type road, the pace of traffic was more like 55, 60 miles an hour, where at home you'll frequently find the pace of traffic on major highways to be 80 or 85 miles an hour. So that was different. This is us riding through parts of actual rainforests. We were just blown away by all of the different road conditions, weather conditions, just things to see. There's everything from the beach to mountains to volcanoes, which we will show you in an upcoming video, to hot springs near the volcanoes, which we also have video footage of that were super, super cool. So we had an amazing time, and we did like the Teneres, and I think that we would entertain the idea of getting an enduro adventure bike to share between the two of us. We may lower it a bit. Michael is just about 6 feet tall, and he was on tippy toes on his bike that was at the higher seat height. He also has the benefit of a little bit more weight than I have. When I sit on the bike, it's hardly even at the weighted seat height, because I think in general these bikes are designed for the average man and not 115 pound 5'2" woman. So it's a little bit tough from that perspective. It was just a lot of bike for me, and you're going to see in a second there's a very short clip where you can see us stopped, and you'll see exactly how high the bike was for me and why it was such a struggle. I couldn't even reach the kickstand, so Michael at times had to stop his bike and come help me before I could get off the bike. So here you can see we're at a stop. You can see exactly how high it is and how difficult it is for me to balance that bike and move it or taxi it at all. So this was really cool. Beautiful bridge through the rainforest to Costa Rica. The scenery was, like I said, just unparalleled. But to wrap it up, pros of this bike: turns like butter, does exceptionally well in all weather conditions, all road conditions. Michael rode it through river crossings, like feet of water, which you'll get to see, and it held up incredibly well. So that was really cool. Cons, for me personally, how tall an adventure bike is and how difficult it is for me to maneuver starts and stops, although I'm sure with practice I would get used to it, and that could be an issue for any shorter rider. Other cons, I don't feel like it got up. It certainly didn't have the power that our Harleys have, and so if you want to do a lot of highway riding, you might prefer, a Harley touring bike, a street glide, a road glide, etc. Stay tuned for our next adventure in Costa Rica. I hope this review helped some of y'all, and until next time, ride safe, and don't forget to subscribe, guys.